strategies are just my tools now. Like, what tool do I have in my toolbox that I want to apply here? I could buy options. I could do a credit spread. I could buy shares. I could do whatever. There's 1,000 strategies that I have and that I personally trade with. It's which one gives me the greatest upside and which one can I accept the downside on, because everything has a downside in trading. There is no just upside.
Sitting down today with Tony Pawlak. Tony, looking forward to hear your story in trading and how you came to be running the company Real Life Trading, which we had the founder before Jeremy on the podcast a few years back, I think. So good to connect with you, of course. Looking forward to see what you're kind of doing and a bit more of the behind the scenes, but also kind of your story in trading and how you've been to the point where you are today. So good to have you here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Tell me a bit more about kind of what you do these days and where you're at in your trading journey.
Yeah. So I've been a full-time trader now for really since 2019. I guess that'd be an easier way to put on it. I'm a product of real life trading. So I was struggling in trading, found Jeremy Newsom in real life trading. He's my mentor. He kind of walked me through everything and showed me the ropes. And then he's like, all right, Tony, now you know the basics, go figure it out, go make it happen now. And so that's really all I needed was a little bit of guidance. And then it's full circle now to the point where I've been trading full time now, successfully helping thousands of people learn how to trade as well, and decided to go ahead and Jeremy offered me an opportunity to buy real life trading. I decided to go ahead and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I love what RL Team's mission is, and I'm a product of it. And so it was a no-brainer for me. It's what I love to do and continue this journey on as he moves on to his next adventure and his next purpose and mission in life. It's time for me to kind of step into mine and help more people learn how to trade.
Bring you back to when you started trading and how was the progression to where you are today?
My journey is a wild story. It's a long one. It's not one that I recommend people walk down. Like, please learn from my mistakes so that your journey is easier. You don't have to do the same things that I did. But I am grateful for my journey because I needed to walk all these different paths so that I can show everyone else where not to go and where to go and how to get success even faster. So I drove a truck for a living. And this was, I would say, my journey before I started trading full time. It probably took me 6 or 7 years of trial and error before I started to even see some type of results. And during that time when I was driving a truck, I just was obsessed with trading, and that's all I wanted to do. And I wanted to quit my job in like 2 seconds and trade. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But looking back, I'm really grateful that I was patient and gave myself enough time to learn more and grow. And by the way, tip for everyone, I know you want to quit your jobs and trade right now, but be grateful for your jobs because it's teaching you patience, which you need that skill whenever you are trying to learn how to trade. So develop that skill of patience by being patient and give yourself the best setup. We can talk about what's required later on here of trading full time and doing all that stuff. But be patient, develop those skills, and be grateful that you have a job that's paying your bills, building your trading account so that you can set yourself up for success in the future. But anyways, I was listening to a lot of trading podcasts, Etienne, and that's when I came across you. I don't know how many years ago, so many years ago, back on my early journey, came across your podcast, and I just binged it all because when I was sitting in a truck driving for hours and hours and hours, that's all I do is just listen to traders come on. And so this is it's a really surreal moment for me. I never really thought that I would be sitting here talking to you and that's how my journey would go. I knew it would be successful. Like, that's just how I am. Anything I take on, I know it would be successful, but it's a really cool kind of full circle moment for me now to be sitting here and talking to someone that was in my shoes potentially, I don't know how many years ago. It was almost like 8, 9, 10 years ago or something like that when I was listening. And having them be like, that's something that's going to happen. Like, there's someone out there that they will be on your podcast here in the future. And it's just really cool. But anyways, a little side note for me. So I'm obsessed with trading. I'm trying to learn how to trade. And it got to a point finally where I'm like, you know what? It's time to go. We're going to quit our jobs. We're going to move to Utah. We were in Arizona at the time. And we're like, my wife's family's here. We both wanted to move to Utah. I love the snow. I love the mountains. And like, let's do this thing. I was like, we just feel like this is what God's telling us to do. We feel like this is our journey. This is our purpose. And I was ready to go. So we sell our house. We move to Utah. We buy a house. We buy, everything, cars, everything, because we're like, we're just going to be millionaires in 2 months, right? That's no way it doesn't happen. And I start trading. And within a month, I've blown up the entire trading account. I think it was actually a little bit less than a month. And so then we take money out of our savings. We flood that into the trading account. And I lost all of that in a matter of like weeks. So it's like a month and a half in, and we have now zeroed out everything that we've ever built for our entire lives. I cashed out one of our credit cards. That didn't last very long. I go to the bank and I get a loan. And I don't recommend this, but I got a loan. I put that into a trading account, and that again, I think only lasted a couple months. There was multiple loans in this process, and each one kind of had one loan lasted 3 days. I put the entire amount on one trade. Again, there's so many things that I did that I'm like, please, everyone, let me show you what not to do. But really, it wasn't the fact that I didn't know how to trade. Like, I knew how to trade. I've been trading for years and years and years. It was the pressure of I need to make money. Like, all of a sudden, I have expectations. I've got to make $5,000 in 2 weeks to pay my bills and my mortgage and all this other stuff. And so instead of me sitting back and letting my setup come and waiting for the best times to trade and the most obvious times to trade, I just started pressing the button. I think that literally my first day ever trading, I took like 55 trades, day trades. Like, no joke. Like, it was just in, out, in, and it's just all over the place because I thought that pressing the button made me money. It doesn't. Trading is not going to make you money. It's your ability to see clear momentum. It's your ability to have the right entry. And it's your ability to understand, again, that sentiment behind those candles of who's winning right now, who's losing right now. What are they feeling? What's their emotions right now? Because emotions make people predictable. And candles are just built of people. And so if you can see the prediction behind that, then it's very easy to follow momentum and ride that move, and trading becomes a lot easier. And that took me years of learning. So anyways, we have burned through everything in this journey at this point. I am so deep in debt. We are just completely crumbling. And there were so many times during this moment where I'm just laying on my back, like tears in my eyes, and I'm like, there's nothing else I can do. Like, I'm done. Like, financially, we're ruined. Like, I don't know if we just file for bankruptcy. Like, this has been the biggest nightmare in my life. And the only thing I wanted for so many years that I worked forward towards was just to trade full time. And every single time I was on my back, I just had this voice in my head come to me so clear that would say, stand up, get up, and go find a way. And I'd be like, how? Like, there's nothing left. Like, I've lost everything. And that voice would just say, stand up and go find a way. And I would stand up. And literally within 30 minutes, I had some type of clarity of like, oh, I could do this, or I could do this. And here's some money here that I could go. And it was just this one little thing that would kind of keep me going for the next little bit. And this process continued. I just would find little bits of money. We were just, living on credit cards. And I went to the bank, and the bank's finally like, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but no, we just gave you a loan. You just luckily I had a lot of credit cards from before, right? And they're like, no. And so the only thing they would give me was another credit card. That was it. And they're like, go away. Like, don't come back. Like, go get a job, right? And so I cashed out that credit card, and it was like 30 something percent interest rate, like 25 to 30, which is way high. And this was back when interest rates were like 2%, right? And so I cashed it out, and I was like, I've got to make this work. I've got to make this work. And so I sat down for the weekend, and I just started writing out all my problems. Like, what really is my issue? This completely changed everything for me, because I fell into the trap that most people do. They keep doing the same thing and expecting that somehow the results will change, right? Stop doing the stuff that isn't working and sit down and just write out what your problems are. Most people know the answers to their solutions in trading. You just need to sit down and just write it out. And so I wrote it out. I was like, I need more consistency. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And throughout that weekend, I figured out a strategy using credit spreads that allowed me, with the very small amount of money that I had, to leverage that and make a lot of money. And it's still my main strategy that I go to today. So it's like a swing trading strategy with credit spreads, because I needed consistency, but I needed to be able to leverage a small account. And I needed to be able to protect myself when I was wrong. Because again, I was like, okay, cool, credit spreads are awesome, but the downside of them is they lose big if you're wrong. And so how can I offset that downside? So I just started writing it out. And I made a game plan of how I could hedge myself if they go against me and what that would look like. And I back traded it for just days on end. And then finally I was like, let's press the button. And it worked. And it got me paying my bills. It got me slowly out of debt. And opportunities would kind of come here and there where I could make some extra money, throw it in, and now I know what I'm doing. And it just finally started getting ahead and getting my bills paid and kind of getting me out of this circle of just debt, right? There were so many more things that went into that. I want to say, like, just the strategy saved me. It's like, no, there was a lot that strategy helped. But it was also at that exact same time that I started to really look at myself. What emotions am I bringing to the table? I realized that there were so many false narratives in my brain that I thought, like, if I failed at trading, I would never trade ever again. And that's not true. There was nothing. I was like, I could go get a job, build some money, and come back and trade full time again. But in my brain, like, this was my one and only shot. And so as I started to question what's feeding these emotions, why am I so scared to lose? I started to realize there's just beliefs that they should not have been there. They had no foundation. And I started to eliminate those things. And so with those change in myself, change in beliefs, change in mindset, and a better strategy and a better approach to the markets, I finally dug myself out and have been a full-time trader ever since. And I came across Jeremy years later after that, and he's like, I want you to come work for me. I want you to come work with me. I want you to be a part of RLT and help others. And that's where my journey came in so helpful, because I could relate. When someone's like, Tony, I just can't seem to make money, or I just blew up my trading account, I'm like, been there. Like, whatever you've done, I've walked that journey. Don't do this. Like, your brain's going to say that. Your brain's going to say double down on size and make your money back. Don't. Do this instead. And so I was able to gain a huge following within real life trading because I was turning people around so fast in their trading, because I knew exactly what to do. Because more important than that, I knew exactly what not to do. And that's where they were kind of struggling. And so, yeah, that's kind of my whole story in trading. It was a wild journey. It sounds so simple and easy now, but I promise you it was years of me crying myself to sleep. But it was worth it. It changed my wife and I into a better person completely. It changed our life financially, where we can travel the world and do what we want to do. But it's also helped me to find my purpose and give me that fulfillment of helping someone else change their financial outlook as well. Because that's like one of the most, like what you're doing here, you know, like helping me when I was starting out, right? It's one of the most fulfilling things that you can do, is to have, help someone that was struggling and then have them turn around and go, Tony, I've got a whole new life because of you. Like I had someone that was in the military. They lost their job. They were a drone pilot, contracted to the military, lost their job. And he's like, because you taught me how to do this, I'm not stressed. And he's like, I can pay my bills while I'm waiting for my next thing. And I might just trade full time from here on out. Right. It was really cool to kind of see how trading has helped them and how my story was not a waste, because I can use it to help someone else have an easier journey than I did. So that was long-winded, but that was kind of my journey and story in trading.
That's a cool story for sure. What do you think made you want to go back to trading, and what made you want to really make your money with trading? Why wasn't it like a different option, or why did you not switch to something else?
I don't know what it was. I have been in love with the markets for a huge chunk of my life. And it's just, I would say it was something that just got me, I committed to it so early that I envisioned, I like had this image of my life, right, of what trading would give me. So embedded in there that there was no other option. And so I stuck with it because I couldn't imagine my life not doing this. That was the one time in my life where I didn't quit. I mean, I shouldn't say the one time, but that was the one time where like everything was telling me to quit, the hardest thing, and I decided to stay with it. And that's all someone needs, right? Is just stay with it long enough, and you'll find success. People quit, and they're like, they're 2 inches away from pay dirt. So yeah, trading was just always, it's just my passion. It's what I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I didn't want to do anything else. It drove me to just keep pushing and keep going and not give up.
So you went from day trading to then swing trading credit spread. Walk me through how that changed and what kind of market you were focused on before versus now and how that all looks.
I thought day trading was where all the money is. And sure, there's money everywhere in the markets. So I just day traded, right? And it was just like, I need to make money. This is what everyone does when they trade full time. And I came to realize that day trading requires a deep set of skills. You need to be able to see sentiment and price action extremely well, volume, so that you can get in before the move happens. I was at a stage, and most people are at a stage where they use the big move to tell them, oh, it's bullish now. Now's the time to jump in. And I was always late to the party because I should have been in during that bull move. I should have used the sentiment before the move happened to tell me it's time to go bullish, right? I didn't have those skills. And so that's why I was really failing. Like you need to be early to the party, and I was always late, which most people experience that. So by the way, I day trade today. I look at stocks now as momentum. If I see short-term momentum, I'll day trade it. If I see some other type of setup, I swing trade it because I want to live my life, and trading gives me that freedom to do that. That's why I love trading so much. I can do it anywhere, anytime. But I don't want to be in front of the computer for 8 hours a day. And so I would rather put a trade on, a swing trade, a credit spread, whatever, go live my life, go golf, go have fun, and then make money in the meantime and let it manage itself. And it's easy. So I switched that because I realized the bigger the time frame I start trading on, the less I need to be perfect on my timing, the less management's going to take, the less emotions are there, because it's not like I'm in and I have to manage it. I'm going to win in 2 seconds. I've got time to be able to see what this is doing. And so swing trading just became a better fit for me because it was slower. And I ended up making way more money because my emotions were a lot calm. And I allowed myself to let the trade work a little bit better in the swing trade. And again, it was that patience side of things starting to work its way back in that allowed me to make money in swing trading. And that's what I stuck with. And until I could learn the skills to finally start incorporating everything else in between. Because now I trade everything now, but just picking one thing and sticking to that is the ideal way to go. And I would say swing trading is going to be ideal to make money for most people starting out. It's just slower, it's easier, and people want the fast, they want the excitement, but it also comes with a cost too. And that's usually where the highest skills are required. And starting out, you just don't have them. Like, you'll look at yourself in 5 years and laugh at what you thought you knew when you were first starting out.
Walk me through the credit spread and how do you trade that?
Yeah. So the gist of the gist, like credit spreads, it sounds complicated and it's options, but really what it comes down to is you win if the stock doesn't go somewhere. So you have a big cushion now. So instead of being correct, instead of being like, I get in, I buy shares and it has to go up in order for it to win, I win by simply having it not go below this level. So, and I can sell that level as far away as I want. So if the stock is up here, I can sell it all the way down here, and it can do whatever it wants. It can go sideways, it can go up, it can go down. As long as it doesn't go all the way down through my spread, I win. And so again, at that time, I didn't have the skills to be able to predict perfectly what the markets were going to do, but I was pretty good at knowing what they probably wouldn't do. And so I was able to sell credit spreads, give myself a cushion. And if I was wrong, I would simply hedge that position, buy some other options that would make more money than the credit spread would lose. Now that I know that momentum is, I needed to hang out and it's starting to drop, I can buy some hedge. And so it's a very specific strategy. And by the way, I give away that strategy for free for anyone that's interested. So it gave me a lot of cushion to not be perfectly correct anymore. And that was a complete game changer for me. So it just made trading so much easier.
So do you sell both? You sell both options, like both limit to make a spread, and then half price stay within those limits?
Yeah, I'll sell both of them, and I'll do bear call spreads, so they make money if the price kind of hangs out, goes mainly down. I make money if it has a little bit more of a bullish sentiment, which is what I mainly do. So those bull put spreads I sell a lot, and everything else in between. Yeah.
How do you manage risk for these options? You mentioned you go and hedge, but how do you do that?
So even if you don't want to hedge, you can manage it. So credit spreads are fantastic because they have a max loss. You can't lose more than what you put on this credit spread. So that's comforting in itself, right? If the markets were just if you get like a 10% gap down or gap up, you can only lose, like you have a max loss defined with credit spreads, but you also have a max profit defined with credit spreads. So what I do in my rule, if you don't want to hedge, just exit the credit spread if ever the price closes on a daily chart across your sold strike. It's hard to explain kind of over this, but that's an easy way to protect yourself. And you'll lose about 30-ish% of your max loss number at your sold strike. So that's a very easy way to manage risk. If you're like, okay, well, if my max loss is $500, if it gets to my sold strike, that means, it's given up the entire cushion that you sold, the buffers between where the price was and where you sold the spread. You were clearly, it's not working. You could get out at your sold strike and you'd lose about 30% of that. So you'd lose, $150 or so out of the 500. So people see the 500 like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose that. It's like, if you follow my strategy in that instance, you'd lose $150. So, and then that's per like one contract. So you could do 1,000 contracts, you could do 10, you could do 3, you could do 1, but that's how I'd manage risk. Is first off, you have a 90% win rate. That's where my strategy is sitting. And with credit spreads, that's very normal, right? 80 to 90% win rate. And so you've got a very high chance of winning, but in the 10% of the time that it doesn't, cut it right at your sold strike and lose small.
And how do you define your size? You mentioned like, yeah, one contract could be more. Do you have a certain number of contract per account size, or how do you look into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I look at the max loss for as a percentage of my trading account. So I've always taught people with credit spreads, you could do a max loss of about 10% of your trading account. I go higher because I know them, but 10% is normally what I'm telling students to kind of work their way up to, because again, you're going to lose about 30% of that. So really you're risking about 3% of your trading account on each trade, which is where I'm kind of sitting on swing trades. 1 to 3% is what I put on each directional trade, shares, whatever. So for my risk. So that brings you right into about a 3% risk of your account if you were to do a max loss of 10%, because again, you're going to exit for about a 30-ish% loss of your max loss number. So that's where I would recommend people that are experienced, they can work their way up to it. But first, paper trade, because there's so many mistakes you can make with credit spreads that can easily hurt you. So paper trade, get used to getting in and out, how your broker works, and then start with just one contract, very small. I would recommend SPY is one of the best ones to sell credit spreads on to start with. You can do very small size and just get used to how they work. And then after you've done like 20 of them, stay slow, stay easy, make mistakes with one. Don't up anything until you've made multiple mistakes. Until you're like, man, I've done this. I bought the spread instead of sold the spread or whatever. Until you've gone through lots of mistakes, do not start upping your size, because people do, again, credit spreads win all the time. So they'll do 20 trades and they're like, this is the greatest thing in the entire world. I'm going to boom straight up to 20 contracts. And then they start making mistakes that they didn't realize. And then their mistakes are $5,000 mistakes instead of a $50 mistake. So, just take it easy, take it slow, be patient. It's not going anywhere. Credit spreads are always going to be here. It's going to work. It's worked the same way for 6 or 7 years now. So it's just stay patient, really get to know the ins and outs, experience the downsides of credit spreads before you start putting size on, so you can understand what you're playing with. And it's a great way to make money and bring in consistent income.
Was options something that came naturally to you? Was it like easy for you to get into options, or was it pretty tough and kind of a big learning curve to get into it?
There's a big learning curve for me. Now I teach options completely for free over at Real Life Trading, because I just don't want people making the same mistakes I did. I think education, learning the foundation like that shouldn't cost people stuff. If you want to come trade with me, sure, come pay money and trade with me or something. But to learn the foundational pieces of trading, I give away for free because you're already losing enough in your trading. So for me, I lost a lot learning how to trade options. I constantly did the wrong thing. There was a very steep learning curve, but once you understand how they work and understand what to do and what not to do, options are one of the safest ways to trade because I can manage my risk extremely easy. You get all the leverage to the upside, but you don't get any leverage to the downside if you set yourself up correctly. And that's what I love about options. Whereas like Forex and a lot of the other things, you have leverage on both sides, right? You can lose a lot, you can make a lot. You need to make sure you have stop management in place. With options, you only have leverage on the side that you actually make money on. Your risk is always capped. You can only lose whatever you spend on that option. So if you spend $100 on that call, it's not possible for you to lose $1,000. You can only lose $100, but yet if it works, you could make $200, $300, $400, $500. You get all that leverage to the upside, but you're not risking to the downside. So once you understand that, you're like, oh, well, that's actually really comforting. Like I swing trade with options a lot because then I don't have to worry so much about gaps, right? Like I can go, if it gaps, I know how much I'm going to lose. Like I can't lose more than this and I can sleep well at night, but I get all the leverage if it does work. So it is a steep learning curve. I made a lot of mistakes. A few tips here to kind of help people out. Whenever you're buying options, don't go the cheap route. Most people buy options way too far out of the money. And most people, they don't give themselves enough time. So again, whenever you're buying options, give yourself more time than you think you need on the expiration. Yes, it's going to cost you more money. So it's not going to be $50. It's going to cost you $150. It's worth it. And buy yourself a strike that's closer to the money, not out. Everyone sees the out of the money and they're like, why? I could pay $25 for this instead of $300 for this. I'm going to spend $25. The odds of you making money on that are extremely low. That's why it's cheap. Okay. So buy more like the 40 or 35 delta is a great place to start. You can learn about all that stuff. It sounds gibberish probably to everyone out there, but you can learn that stuff. When you learn that, you're like, oh, okay, I know what Tony's talking about. Just out of the money and give yourself more time than you think, like 2 to 3 times more. So if you think this is going to happen in 3 days, buy it 15 days out, 14 days out. Like give yourself way more time than you think. Yes, it's more expensive, but you have a higher probability of making money going that approach starting out.
So you're still relying on technical analysis to determine where your options are going to be at.
I use technical analysis and price action as the foundation of everything that I do. Options are not going to save you. Credit spreads are not going to save you. Strategies are not going to save you because if you don't know when to apply that, if I could give you the greatest bear strategy in the world and it would have gotten absolutely destroyed over the last year because the markets are going up. So it's like, it's not the strategy that's going to make you rich. Do you need to know it? Yes. It's like, I use this analogy everywhere. If you wake up in the morning, you go out to your car and your car doesn't start, you don't just grab like a hammer. Like a hammer does you no good. What's wrong with the car? Oh, the battery's dead. You got to figure out why it's not starting. Then the tool, pliers or whatever, wrench to get the battery off, that tool is very effective when you know what to use it on. And price action and technical analysis, in my opinion, gives me that foundation of like, what is wrong right now? Right? Where is it going? So that car analogy, right? What's wrong right now? What are the markets doing? Are they bullish? Are they bearish? Are they just going sideways? How do I know that? It's price action. Price action and volume are the only thing that are going to tell you what's about to happen. Everything else is a lagging indicator. It's going off of what already happened. Price action and volume are telling you what's about to happen. It's the only 2 leading indicators out there in the market. So I focus on those a lot. And that way I can diagnose and go, okay, it's bullish. Strategies are just my tools now. Like what tool do I have in my toolbox that I want to apply here? I could buy options. I could do a credit spread. I could buy shares. I could do whatever, there's 1,000 strategies that I have and that I personally trade with. It's which one gives me the greatest upside and which one can I accept the downside on? Because everything has a downside in trading. There is no just upside. Everyone just focuses on the upside and pretends like the downside's not there. But in reality, it's like everything has a downside. There's always a risk. There's always a scenario where it's not going to work. So what allows me to leverage the upside as much as I can and what is what risk am I good with, and what strategy do I want to go with on this situation? So without price action, I don't have the foundation to apply my strategies and apply my, my ability to make money in the markets. I first got to figure out where it's going. And that would be my recommendation for people. It's like, stop learning strategies at the moment, learn a couple, learn price action, learn how to read these markets. So that way you can diagnose them and figure out which way they're going so that you can be with the market. You can be going bullish, and the strategy is a little bit less important. The more important thing is, are you seeing what the markets are showing you? Are you able to go bullish when it's going bullish? Or are you constantly going bearish when it's going bullish, or going bullish when it's going bearish? It's like, I would say start with that, and your results usually change quite a bit.
Good stuff. Tell me where people can go to reach out to you and learn more from you if they want to go ahead and kind of dive into this.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm over at reallifetrading.com. You can head over there and get started. We have online courses, like I think 20 hours of them for free, to cover swing trading, day trading, the basics. If you're brand new to trading, if you're advanced to trading, we have options right there that you can learn. You can come trade live with us if you want. You can come trade live with me every week. I'm trading credit spreads live. I'm trading options. And then I have a handful of professional traders that trade alongside of us. So I have a day trading specialist, I have a swing trading specialist, an investing specialist. And so they run rooms every single day during the week, and people can watch their screens. We're all about education. So I'm not here to give you a fish. Like, people come to me, they're like, just give me a profitable trade. I'm like, that's not what I do. I teach you how to fish. Like, my job, my goal is to show you how to do this, not to have you rely on me or someone else. Right? So we are 100% based on education, but yes, you can come trade live. Yes, we do post our trades because that's one of the best ways to learn. And we post all of our trades, losers and winners. You can go to reallifetrading.com. You can check out our trade journal. It goes back years and years. You'll see all of our trades, wins and losses. You'll see what trading really is like from there. But yeah, reallifetrading.com. Check us out. Again, tons of free education. And then you can come join some memberships with us, come trade live, be a part of our community. And we've been around for over 10 years. So it's one of the highest, Real Life Trading is one of the highest rated stock market education companies out there. And that was all, really from Jeremy and what he built throughout all those years. But we just want to enrich lives. We want your journey to be easier than what mine had to be, what anyone else had to be before you. Because my story is a waste if I don't use it to help you have an easier road. I was always wondering, like, why was mine so hard? It's like, that's why. Like, I'm willing to lose hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it wrong so that you don't have to. So yeah, that's where we're at. And again, Etienne, it's just an honor to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me. And such a cool, again, full circle moment where I just never imagined I would be here talking to you right now. And so it was just hitting me last night, honestly, of just how cool that is, and how good God is, and how that all works. Is, you guys have no idea how great a future you have, but you're going to earn it. It's going to put you through a lot, but it's worth it in the end. So, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, good to hear. And you guys do an awesome job. We'll put the link below too, so people can check out your stuff and reach out to you at Real Life Trading. You also have a YouTube channel, which people can definitely go on and learn a lot from that. I appreciate them here a lot, and hopefully we'll catch up soon, Tony.